Hello and welcome to ArcanaDrive. My name is Arcana, but I won't be a driver this evening because I don't have my license. Anyways, today we're doing an unscripted video because as much as I like the scripted ones, I feel like they're shoehorning me into being an essayist person. And I am, but not most of the time. In addition, for whatever reason, reading things out makes me do my best BBC presenter voice unconsciously, and that's not necessarily how I actually speak. So, here's an off-the-cuff one. Welcome to Yap Moe. I know, it's a really good title. At least I'm chuffed with it. For today's topic, we just have a little list of things that I've liked as of late. To capitalize on YouTube success, hopefully, fingers crossed, I've picked an integer between Watch Mojo top 10s and Chill's top 15s. Without any further ado, number 1, Mickey17. I went to see this in the pictures a couple weeks ago with my friend because I'd read online that after only 18 days in theaters, it was going to be on streaming. That is devastating! That's no time at the box office at all, I thought. So I put my money where my mouth is and I went to go see it. I had the ratio of threesome hijinks to the rest of the movie right, but I was honestly quite shocked by how much of the rest of the movie I enjoyed. I wasn't expecting it to be bad, but I'm not necessarily a fan of action or sci-fi or anything like that, so seeing a movie that really opened itself up to having a lot of sci-fi and a lot of action was quite a risky move. But it was just so heartfelt and human. I left the cinema telling everyone, you've got to watch this movie, it's my favourite movie, I love it more than anything. It's dethroned Eternal Sunshine. And everyone was like, dethroned Eternal Sunshine? I know, right? But it was just very human, you know? It really resonated with me. I often find that films have this problem where they're so entertaining that there's nothing to really dig into, or they're all dig into and not fun to actually watch. This movie, I think, did a fantastic job of having both elements. And in addition, another thing I think it blended well was humor. The film is mostly serious, but it's got a lot of actually funny moments in, like even the people in the theatre were laughing. And I just think that the way that the humor was done fit into the film very well without taking away from it. I like Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's a very good film as well, and very, like, I cried during it. It's really meaningful to me, you know, personally as well as in general. But one problem I had was every time it cut to the sausage finger people, I'd get taken out and be like, oh yeah, this isn't real, this is a film that I'm watching. Oh man, now I feel a bit less towards these people. Whereas Mickey17, the humor sort of fit into the world quite seamlessly, I think. In addition, I just really love the soundtrack. It's quite simple in how it's done, but I feel that suits the human nature. You don't need anything super mad going on to present the themes of the film. Number 2, Project Zomboid. One of my favourite games growing up is Sims 2 Castaway on the PlayStation 2. I really like it, but the problem is that although I like going around and foraging and building things and living away from society, blah 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 blah, I don't like how peaceful it is. I enjoy being able to set up anywhere on the islands, but what bothers me is there's no real reason not to. You know, like, if you like an area, you can just move there and it's kind of fine. Because it's a Sims game, it sort of lacks technical depth that makes a game fun to play for a long time. Whereas Project Zomboid has more menus and more gameplay and more mechanics, but that makes it more rewarding to actually spend time chipping away at. In a way, oddly enough, I actually find Zomboid easier to play than Sims, because in Sims, you'll be like, hey, you're starving, can you cook that fish on a fire and eat it real quick and then you will not be starving? And your Sim's like, no, oh, no, I don't want to. And you're like, okay, that's fine, why not though? And they're like, oh, I'm bored. It's like, yeah, you're on a desert island. You're not gonna have a telly, are you? Stupid man. Whereas in Zomboid, like, your character will be like, hey, I'm really overexerted. I need to sit down. And you'll be like, you're running from a horde of 20 zombies. Like, you have to keep going. And they're like, yeah, no, that's fine. And they'll just do that till they keel over and die. And I really respect that. It's just been a fun game. And yeah, I've been enjoying learning it, but it's very complex. And I haven't even scratched the surface of what to do. But I do have a starting tactic, and it's working out for me. Number 3 is On the Moon by Odyssey from Touhou Eurobeat Volume 13, I think? I love this song. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a Eurobeat fan, but I also wouldn't say I'm not. I don't go looking for it, but it tends to be when I find it. It's kind of good stuff. For this one, the song just sounds good, okay? It's just fun, right? That's it, right? But also, I do like the lyrics. They've got some fun ones and some serious ones that I just kind of relate to. I've been singing it a bunch. for me, what caught me was the silly line, why don't they try invading somewhere else, or better yet, go on vacation? I was like, yeah, or better yet, go on vacation. Come on, Touhou characters. Stop invading the moon. It's not just a silly song. I'm someone who doesn't like when things are just silly. I mean, I don't hate just silly things by any means, but like, I personally I like to have passion in everything. I don't like when things are just ironic and funny. Do you know what I mean? So this song having like, oh, there's a funny bit, and then the rest of the song is quite good for me. I also like the pace of it because it's just fun to dance to. I've been spending all day dancing around my house as of late, which is quite fun. Number 4, digestive biscuits. For the unaware, they are a Scottish biscuit first developed in order to aid digestion, hence the name. This is a really simple one, but recently, every time me and my friend go to the shops, we both buy a packet of the dark chocolate digestives, and I just keep that on my desk, and every now and then I have one. And that's it. There's nothing crazy about it, okay? I've just been enjoying some biscuits. Look, I never said this was a very exhaustive, detailed, meaningful list. It's just a list of things I have been enjoying, right? There are worse entries on this list. Number 5 is the Umineko Episode 8 manga. As we know, I really like Umineko. It's kind of my whole internet existence at this point, and has been for a while. It was actually the first anime I watched, which... well, not the first anime I ever watched, that was Pokemon, but like the first anime I watched knowing it was an anime. Anyways, obviously I haven't just seen the anime, I've read the manga and I have read the visual novel. But I've got to say, I think the manga's my favorite way for me to enjoy Umineko. I wouldn't tell everyone to do that. Obviously read the visual novel and then like check out other things if you want to. But I just enjoy the way that the manga's done, the pacing of it, the art. You get a bit more from it visual-wise than you do from the visual novel, which is kind of ironic in a way. Visual novel lacks visuals. But what I really like about the Episode 8 manga is the art and the panel choices and the small details in there. There's one where, you know, it cuts to some writing on the wall that says like, I'm sorry, Mum, and it's just so gut-wrenching. I really, really do love the art for it. It's a fantastic adaptation in my personal opinion. I wouldn't say it's a replacement by any means, but for me, if I'm like, oh, I'd really like to experience Umineko again, but I'm on a bit of a time frame, the manga is just so perfect for that. And having recently combed through it for one of my videos, I just love it. Number 6 is Birdsong. I know, another really simple one, but the other day I woke up and there were birds outside singing, and obviously there hasn't been for a while because it's winter and they go away summer, which is quite rude of them, but whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, Birdsong is so great. I really love Birdsong. And I just sat and listened to it for a bit, and it really motivated me to go through my day. Another thing I love, you don't, or at least I and people I know, don't think about it, but other people have different birdsong. You'll sometimes be on call with someone and you can hear their birds outside. And a lot of the time it's kind of similar. There's like a baseline birdsong that I think most people have, but there are different ones. My favorite in particular is calling someone who's in Australia and hearing kookaburras in the background. I always love that because it's such like a funny thing, like, oh yeah, you are Australian because there's kookaburras in the background. Really love it. And I really love how, again, you take birdsong for granted, but other people have different birds around them, and therefore different birdsong. What a world! Number 7 is a meme that I adore. Louis Armstrong is a very fantastic musician. That cannot be understated. However, his voice is kind of fun to do impressions of. Me and my mum do them all the time. We go around, and I want you to understand that this is by no means a good, accurate, or valuable impression. It's more for us to have fun doing than for the other person to have fun hearing. We'll just be going around and we'll be like, acid trees are green. You know what I mean? That doesn't sound anything like him, but it's just funny to like do the tone, right? And that's been a thing for years. My mum and I have done that for like a decade. So when I saw that meme that has him saying, and I think to myself, I love that meme. That's so funny to me. It's just so funny. I've just been going around saying that. That's it. Look, again, this is a very simple list. Okay, cool. Number 8 is Severance and Severance Edits, which is kind of a twofer, but like, hear me out. Severance is like if a guy watched telly and thought, this could be cooler, and then did that. In a way, Severance reminds me of Quentin Tarantino films because a lot of times when I'm watching something like Kill Bill, I'm like, oh man, that's such a like, I just want to have a cool scene in a movie thing to do. Like, there's no need for this song to be playing here, but we put it in just because it's cool.
Hey there, you on the table. I wonder if you'd mind taking a brief survey. 5 questions. To start out, who are you?
And Severance is kind of like that. There's so many shots and even musical choices that I'm just like, you just did this to be cool. And that's fine, that's valuable, and it's made for good telly, but I really like the act of watching that. In addition, because of all the cool shot choices within Severance itself, it allows for some really cool edits. There are so many that I keep rewatching and like every time my friend comes down to my house, I plug her headphones into my computer and I'm like, watch this Severance edit. And she's like, I don't know anything about Severance. And I'm like, I know you don't watch telly, but it's fine. Like, isn't this cool? And she's like, yeah. Number 9 is Nadsat from A Clockwork Orange. I haven't read the book, but I did see the movie fairly recently, and it was boring to watch. It was really boring to watch, but I think that made the point more because it's social commentary, not entertainment. And so I've really been thinking about A Clockwork Orange for a while since watching it. Not just the themes, but in particular, the language. In A Clockwork Orange, there is a register that the main character uses and his sort of, what's the word, like cronies, his gang uses. And it's called Nadsat. And it takes influence largely from Russian, but there's also Cockney rhyming slang. I think there was German in there at one point. There's some Scots in there, which I thought was really cool. And even just some like made up terms. One of the words that I really liked even before watching it or reading or caring about A Clockwork Orange was the term ultraviolence. I think that's a fantastically modern term in the age where there's television and video games all about just being like a violent person. I think that ultraviolence should be applied more. You know, it's kind of fun to just hop onto GTA and be like, oh, let's have a bit of ultraviolence today, guys, and go and do that. And as someone who was already employing the usage of the word ultraviolence, it was kind of inevitable that I would, you know, watch and eventually I will read A Clockwork Orange. Like I said, it takes influence largely from Russian, but also other languages and dialects as well. For example, Drugs, which is used to mean like your gang, your cronies, your goons, is Russian for friends. Eggywegs is just a really kiddie way to say eggs. Fast is Scots for tired / annoyed, and there's a lot more. In a way, the slang makes you endeared to Alex because you're like, oh well, I mean he is 15 and saying eggywegs is a bit cute, and Drugs is a fun word to use. And then you see him murder a woman and you're like, ah yeah, no, this guy is bad. No, this guy's been bad the whole film, I don't know. Hang on a minute. In a way, I want to use Nadsat in my day-to-day life. I mean, like I said, I've already been using ultraviolence anyway, but I just love the term Droog so much. I think it fits the term exactly. But the less I have in common with Alex DeLarge, the better me thinks. Number 10 is tea. I semi-recently bought a merch mug, and in order to use it all the time, I've just been drinking lots of tea. Because I think the act of putting a cold drink in a mug is, I don't know, it perturbs me. I've liked tea for years anyway, I am British, but I've just been having so much more because I'm like, oh, I really want to use my merch mug and feel close to this thing that my merch mug is from that I'm not naming because I'm so embarrassed. I love tea. It's such a weird thing. We've taken some leaves and we've dried them up, and now you're going to add hot water to them and perhaps a sweetener and perhaps even a form of milk. What a delightful, simple and stupid thing. Number 11 is browser extensions. This is such... I love the modernity of it. Sometimes I'll be streaming my browser to a friend because I want to show them something, which is why you stream things. I don't have to justify that. And they'll go, oh, your browser so-and-so's. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's my browser extension. Do you want a link? What a fantastically modern conversation that is. You quite literally could not have that conversation 20 years ago. And I really, really just love that. They're also just useful, and I like that you can customize your browser to do things or look like a certain thing. Anything that's customizable, I'm just a big fan of, so it's quite obvious that I like browser extensions. And you can get them for anything. I've got tons, but the one that I think I like the most is I've got one that automatically catalogs manga chapters I read / anime episodes I watch to my anime list. That's so useful as someone who forgets to update everything. Number 12 is Kale. I did say this list wasn't necessarily scintillating. Anyways, I eat healthy, or at least I try to. I think I do. I would say I do. People say I eat healthy. And part of that is making sure that you're not just eating vegetables, but a variety of vegetables. And I've been slacking on that recently because I keep buying vegetables that last too long. If you, as a single woman, because men eat whole cabbages at a time, if you, as a single household occupant, why I gendered it, I don't know, buy a head of cabbage, you are so screwed. That's such a commitment. That's like marriage, you know? you're going to be eating cabbage for so long. Because even if you, like, there's only so much cabbage you can put on a sandwich. There's only so much cabbage you can put in a stew. There's only so much cabbage you can eat at one sitting, steamed. So I keep getting into this trap where I'm like, oh, I'll just buy a bit of cabbage. And then I'm there for a while. So this week I thought, all right, you know what I haven't had in a real long while? I haven't had kale. So I bought a bag of kale. And the problem with kale is much like cabbage, it's a commitment. But unlike cabbage and much like spinach, it at least shrinks when you boil it or steam it. So I've been boiling and steaming kale with just every meal that I've had for the past couple of days. Because you can take like half the bag and put it in a pot and have like a very minuscule amount left over. Fantastic. With a bit of mint sauce, oh, it's just so good. It's just a plain, simple pleasure of life. A little bit of kale and a little bit of mint sauce. All you need is some hot water. Much like tea, water and leaves is a fantastic combination. And finally, number 13 is Bluetooth headphones. Originally, I wasn't a big fan of Bluetooth headphones because the idea that death would be a regular occurrence was very perturbing to me. I know they can be recharged, but as someone who forgets to charge anything, the more things I have to recharge, the worse my quality of life is. And life is about living good, not poorly. So I was not ever jumping on the Bluetooth headphone trend. Unfortunately, as is the case with many such addictions, I got gifted a pair for a birthday years ago. And I found them quite enjoyable because I could go, oh, you know, I do need to do housework. But as I lived with 10 people, which I did at the time, and would not like to disturb them, well, not that they ever thought about disturbing me, but as I live with 10 people and would not like to embarrass myself with my horrible music taste, I shall put these headphones on and then move around the house doing things I need to do, whilst remaining in sync with my music. What a fantastic life experience. I love it. I can just get up and go. Recently what I've been doing, I have 2 monitors and one of them, well, they're both on a stand and I can just rotate them around. And I'll just put a stream up on the big one and I can just rotate that around. If I'm in the kitchen, I can rotate it to the kitchen. I can be like, what's that? Oh, and turn back. Or if, you know, I'm in the bathroom, I can sort of aim the monitor at the bathroom. I live in a very small house and I can be cleaning the toilet and turn my head back and be like, what is my Oshi doing? Oh, that's what you're doing. Get it? It's so fun. In addition, and this for me is a holy grail, I bought a pair of headphones because they were a color I like. And I thought, well, they're ones that you can plug in as well. I like when you have big Bluetooth headphones that you can plug in as well as use wirelessly, just in case they die, you know? And I used them just fine for a little bit. They were good, they were okay. But what really got to me was there was this bizarre rectangular hole on the bottom of one side of the headphones. And I thought, what on earth is this for? And eventually I was idly reading through the manual for it just to see, I guess. I don't know why I was doing it, because I'd figured them out. Press play and the music comes out, right? But I learned that this is actually a micro SD card slot, and you can put an SD card into these headphones. I haven't used the Bluetooth feature since. I can just take downloaded files that I have on my computer, put them on this micro SD card, and put them into the headphones. That's fantastic. Are you kidding? Why isn't this the standard? Anyways, thanks for coming. These are some things I've liked as of late, and let me know yours. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Yep, Moe.